Hello and welcome to my final presentation video for my CIT 260 course at BYU, Idaho. It's fall 2018 semester and my instructor is Brother DeBry and my name is Gail Lee. Here is a summary of the presentation and what will be covered. Static and non-static variables, ArrayList enums, for statements, runtime errors, character stream and byte stream. I'm going to write characters data to external file and demonstrate the game, The City of Erin. The static and non-static slide is what I'm going to talk about first here. Static variable belongs to a class which is defined. It belongs to the whole class rather than a specific instance. It is common among all class objects in the class, and when it is altered, it is changed for the class object instances. Here it is an example. We have in the crop control the three constraints shown: land base, land range, crop yield base, all have values that remain the same in the crop control class unless they are altered. The non-static variable belongs to the object of the class with specific instance of the class. It takes on unique values with object's instance. If the variable is altered, it only changes for that class subject instance, which is defined. Here's an example. You can see the player has a variable called player, and the name will change and follow along the class as the game is played. The next topic is ArrayList, and enum. The definition of array and example is on the slide. An array is a container object that holds a fixed number of value of a single type. The length of the array is established when the array is created. The length is fixed. The map class on the right-hand side shows an example that is created an array for the location objects. It is fixed in a length of column and row. When the person types in the column or in row numbers, it will take them to a specific location in the game. And unless they change the location, it will stay there throughout the game itself. The next example is an array list. Array list is used when the list needs to be varying length and the list items can be different data types. So the method is called the create provisions list. And the objects are in there are the items in the provisions that we have put in. We have the items here listed as right here as the sugar, salt, flour, and rice. And then we have the integer or number that's associated with those provisions. And unless those provisions are changed, they will stay throughout the game. The next slide shows a definition of enums and example. Enums are used when the list is fixed length, the list must be constant, and it must be the same data type. So in this case, I brought up the team members. The team member shows Gail Lee, Carolyn Murray, and Drazen Lucet, who all three of us created the game City of Erin and had different inputs that we put in. So it gives our full name here, and then it gives the title that we gave each other in the game and when we created it. The next code is an example of a for statement. In this statement, we have the provisions that are in the storehouse, and those went along with the provisions we saw earlier on a slide. But what happens is it reads those provisions. It has the for down here, for provisions, the list item provisions. And what happens is it keeps running through that for as a loop. And when it finishes and finalizes all the things in the provisions, then it returns back a report telling which provisions are there, such as the sugar, salt, flour, and rice. The next slide shows runtime errors. You need to have a throw and catch error to prevent the program from killing itself and to let the users know why the program has stopped running. Before you can catch an exception, some code somewhere must be thrown in. So at the top of this public static void, we have advanced 1 year, which throws an exception of the game. So we have to get the game, we have the crop data comes in, and we have a category called current year, which is an integer that keeps track of the years or the time that the game is being played. So the current year has to add every time the person goes in and plays a new game. The year then adds one number to each year. So when the user gets to greater than 10 years, and the game is over. And here's the code that's typed in. If current year greater than 10, throw the new end of game exception, which basically says game over. The next slide will show the catch errors. This is an example of what is displayed when there is an exception. An exception is an event which occurs during the exception of the program, that it disrupts the normal flow of the program's instruction. This code will print out, you have reached over 10 years. And then I'll print a line that says, great job, here are your achievements. And they can start a new game to play. They will display the crops view report so they can actually see how they did during the time that they played the game. The next slide is character, stream, and byte stream. The character, or char is called sometimes stream, are run sequentially. They use Unicode character. The input and output is 16-bit code. Most char stream end with reader or writer. Here's an example in our code. You see the private void lists provisions to file, has the print writer out, and the new print writer file name. So what happens here is the characters are sent they're sent to print and show what is in the list of provisions down here as you maybe save the game or to a file name. The byte stream here is the Java streams are used to perform output, but the input and output is 8 bytes. And these classes are called file input stream and file output. And here an example of that one. This is in the save game area. And so what it does is throws crop exceptions. That's a mouthful. If we look down here where it says the file output and stream, and then there's a new path that comes in, and so then it actually will write there was an error saving the file. If there is, that exception is what comes in. So it tries to write, finds an exception, and then throws it out to the file. So here's the example when you do write the external file. You come in and you go to the list provisions to file. The string file name is provisions.txt. And so the print writer then writes it out into the new name that you give it, or the provisions text name, and it sends the list of provisions to the save file. And we'll look at this when we run the game. You'll be able to see this example. So let's look at the game. Are you ready to play the game, City of Erin? I'm going to open it up and you'll be able to see how it is played. Okay, here we are in the game. I brought up the menu. So when I ran the game, City of Erin, the menu has 5 items. And the first one, start a new game, get and start a save game, get help on playing the game, save the game, and quit the game. So let's start with number 1. Start a new game. It says, welcome to the city of Erin, and gives some information here. And then we are to type in our name. So I'm going to type my name, Gail. And it says, welcome, Gail, have fun. And then it has another menu. View the map, view the print list, move to new location, manage the crops, and return the main menu. Let's manage the crops. So I put 4 in to manage the crops. It tells me what we have. Wheat and store is 2,700. We have 1,000 acres owned, and we have population of 100. The question asks us, land is selling 25 bushels per acres. How many acres of land do you wish to buy? Let's do 3. The next question says, land is selling for 18 bushels per acres. How many acres of land do you wish to sell? Let's sell 50. It takes 20 bushels to feed one person for a year. How many bushels do you want to set aside to feed the people? Let's set 2,100. 1 bushel is needed to plant 2 acres. One person can farm 10 acres. How many acres do you want to plant? Let's plant 500. The offering can be between 0 and 100%. What percentage of wheat do you want to set aside? Let's do our 10%. And there you go. Here's our report. Gail, here's your report. And it tells us how much we have. Looks like we were really good. We didn't starve anybody, and we had 5 new people join. Let's try it one more time. Oh, down here it does say 1 year. Let's try one more. Let's do 4 again. And this one, how much do you want to buy? Let's do 10 this time. And let's do 100 to sell. Let's do 2,400 to feed. And to plant, let's do 500. And we'll do our 10% again for our offerings. Now it tells us we're at year 2. And again, we were successful. We didn't lose anybody through starvation. So everything looks really good at this point. We have 41.97 in our storehouse of our wheat. So we could continue on, but in this case, we'll stop at this point, and we'll go back to the main menu so I can show you how to save the game. So if we do number 4, that's save the game. And the game wants us to enter a name in here. So let's enter our name in. We enter then. The game is saved into file Gail. So I brought up the File Explorer to show you, here it is. The name Gail has been saved into the folder, so that game has been saved. Let's go back to our game now. Now we're back to the game, so we can go back to main menu, and if we wanted to get the game, we would type a 2 to get the game, then enter the name back in, Gail. And then it brings up our report again, shows us that we're in year 2. So if we were to go manage more crops or do something, it would add that to another number. And if we went 10 times, then of course we'd get that, yay, you did the game, and the game would be done. So this is a fun game to play. It was fun to program. And so I hope you enjoyed this video. And this is the end. Thank you very much.